Today we have a comparison for you, which we know you love. We are comparing Taylor with Gibson, specifically the new Generation Collection G-45 versus Taylor's AD-17. How do they stack up? Stay tuned. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for our custom design t-shirts like Cooper and I are wearing today, and we didn't even plan to match. How do you like that? So today, Cooper, we are comparing two great guitar builders with two fantastic, fabulous guitars. So I've got Gibson's Generation Collection G-45 that just launched, and you have?
I got the AD-17 from the American Dream line, which launched last year, but it's still relatively new. And, you know, I was thinking about it. Taylor, it almost seems like they have an idea for a guitar, and then we have them next week or something, you know?
It seems like that, doesn't it?
It seems like it, yeah. Well, we'll find out, oh, there's going to be an American Dreams here, and then I'll go in the warehouse that day. There's like 40 of them down there.
That's called planning.
Yeah, they plan really well over at Taylor. Hopefully, maybe, I mean, it would just be cool if other people did that. You know?
So it's interesting you bring that up because Gibson has described the Generation Collection as their biggest launch ever. And one of the things that's been noticeable about this launch is they made a concerted effort that dealers had the inventory at launch, which hasn't been typical. And it really does, I mean, from our perspective, it helps. You and I both deal with the ordering of things for the store when it comes to guitars and some other categories. And, you know, you often learn about these things well in advance. So I knew about the Generation Collection, I think like back in the winter or maybe even earlier than that, and we ordered a whole bunch of them. But it's been difficult to get guitars out. So I have to applaud Gibson for really making it a priority.
Lining up, yeah.
Because it's been hard to get a lot of inventory from most any company.
Yeah.
Gibson certainly hasn't been shielded from those situations. So the fact that the week of the launch, we had them is pretty cool. I would have actually liked it the week before, but nevertheless,
yeah.
It's a great change. In the past, they have been, and many other manufacturers have actually just done launches and then you get it like eventually.
Yeah.
That's why the NAMM show, people often joked, the Winter NAMM show actually stands for not available maybe May. You know, launch all of this stuff and then nobody has any of it. So anyways, but I digress.
Yeah.
I have it in hand, so that's cool.
So I think that the philosophy for these guitars, maybe there was different stories and different reasonings by it, but I think that they are similar in terms of American-made, all solid wood, affordable guitars from two great companies. You
right.
know, a lot of the features, because of the price point, I think come down to be similar. The satin finish, lack of binding. You know, this one has chamfered edges, but it's not binding.
Yeah.
But there are some really key differences that I think this one makes a compelling case with. What do you think the biggest difference is?
Well, probably that this has a big hole in the side of it. You know, that might be a big difference between them. But if you wait just 5 minutes, I've got a drill, and we can put a hole in the side of that one too.
Yeah, get a Forstner bit over here.
Andy Powers would love it.
Yeah, it'd be classic.
So yeah, I mean, I think some of the key differences, let's compare them side by side. So these are both round shoulder dreadnoughts. You know, I venture to say that the Grand Pacific body shape, which is what the AD-17 is greatly inspired by round shoulder dreadnoughts of the past. And the most famous round shoulder dreadnought of the past is a J-45. But they're a little bit different. The dimensions are a little bit different. They both feature, you know, spruce bracing, but vastly different designs. So this is Gibson's hand scalloped X bracing that they've used for years. But this features Andy Powers' newer V-class bracing.
Well, V for Vendetta over here.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny. I mean, it's all across their line, but that hasn't been around for even 5 years yet, I don't think.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So similar body shapes, different scale lengths. This is, I believe it's a different scale length. This is a 24.75 inch scale or something like that. And I want to say that that's the full 25.5 inch scale, unless I'm mistaken. In which case, go to our website and check the specs.
Sounds right to me.
Like you said, no binding on either one. This one doesn't have chamfered edges. This does, which is a rounding of the edge, if you don't know what that is, and it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't, truthfully, I don't think either guitar on the edge is more comfortable than something that actually is bound.
Yeah.
Because it's a little smoother. And neither of them is as comfortable as something with an armrest. So varying degrees of comfortability for your right arm, but you get what you pay for. Hey, different strap button location.
That's a big deal for me.
Yeah. I've already seen some comments on our live stream video about why did they put the strap button there. But if you buy a Taylor Builder's Edition 517, guess where they put the strap button? Right there, because of the heel. Like, I don't know that this rounded heel, which is very comfortable, would accommodate a strap button over there very well. But nevertheless, there you go. Walnut.
And this is Ovencall.
Ovencall.
Which is interesting because I think Ovencall sometimes is like a chameleon in terms of how it looks. But I recently did a video with a 410 from like 20 years ago versus this one. They're both Ovencall. Since that's not one of the big names, a lot of people don't automatically think of it as like, oh, that's classic tone wood, but it's been used very, very long time.
Yep.
Sounds great. And both spruce top.
Yeah, Ovencall. This one's walnut, which is very pretty, and is used quite a bit on different instruments. Yep, spruce top on this one as well. You have a pick guard?
Yeah, I got a pick guard over here, and now I will say that just aesthetically, American Dream, I think, looks a little more filled out.
Well, you've got you don't have binding, but you've got that staining on the edge.
Staining.
That gives the illusion of binding, which helps.
Really nice rosette, and tortoiseshell, faux tortoiseshell, because Taylor's not experiencing a faux tortoise shortage.
It's a different video.
That's a different video, but...
So, if you haven't heard, what Cooper's alluding to is that we've gotten an email from Martin, who's not in this video, but we should talk about Martin because we love Martin. We love Martin. And Martin Guitars is shipping us some guitars that won't have tortoiseshell pick guards. They're going to have black pick guards because the supplier that provides the tortoiseshell has run out of faux tortoiseshell. To which I told Cooper, that's so sad. That means they've run out of faux tortoises.
It's endangered species now.
So
the faux tortoise.
Maybe they'll go to real tortoises.
Yeah.
No, it's illegal. So yeah, so different pick guard here. Definitely more understated.
Yeah.
Good eye. They both have pretty plain inlays up the neck. And that's a Sapele neck, I think. It may be mahogany. I think it's Sapele. This is Sipo, or Utili, is what Gibson's saying. It's like an African mahogany, very similar wood, very similar feel to it.
So here's an interesting thing. For me, I think about Taylor guitars as an ebony bridge, ebony fingerboard. That guitar has that.
Yep.
Does this have that? Or is this eucalyptus?
It's eucalyptus. Smoked eucalyptus.
They're switching up the game over here,
Yeah. Do you ever hear about why they did that?
I remember you telling me, and I need a refresher.
If I recall correctly, Andy Powers was like, we found this cool smoked eucalyptus, and we liked it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's the best reason, because you're the builder and you liked it. So,
yeah. And, it passes as ebony, for sure. But it feels good, it sounds good. It's just interesting that out of the years of Rich Light, now we have some ebony over here.
One thing that's always been interesting is Taylor has always gone like, we'll find an alternative wood, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas Martin and Gibson and some other manufacturers have gone, well, we'll substitute with a man-made material. And I think guitar players are pretty curmudgeon-y, right? Mm-hmm. We just prefer wood most of the time. And so arguably, even if something is better as a man-made material, we tend to prefer wood.
Yeah.
And so I think Taylor's recognized that. There's this balance between tradition and modernization. Mm-hmm. And so that's one place where they've kind of like, we just prefer making guitars with wood.
Yeah, so I think that's cool. But yeah, so before we hear you play them, what are your biggest, what lens do you want to look through for the demos?
Well, let's talk about, first of all, that both of these are being compared because they're very similar body shapes, but they're also pretty much in the same price point. So this guitar at launch does not come with a pickup offered, and it's $11.99. Comes with a gig bag, which we have right over here, and some goodies in the gig bag. That also comes with a gig bag. Is it the Aero case?
It's an Aero case.
The Aero case, which is better than a gig bag.
Yeah.
You know that I'm either showing my age or that's how many specs I'm having to read on a regular basis that I'm keep going, like, what case does it come with? So it comes with an Aero case, which is fantastic. It's $13.99 without a pickup, but the AD-17E is available with a pickup and a blacktop version.
Yep.
And there's a 27, so there's a bit more availability and variety in the American Dream series. But yeah, they do sound very similar. Now, we did another comparison with this guitar with a J-45, J-50, but whatever, which is also on our channel. So if you haven't seen that, make sure that you're subscribing and following and you check that video out. And what I'll tell you playing these three back-to-back is this sounds brighter than either of the other two. Brighter than the AD-17 to my ear, much brighter than the J-45.
Yeah, totally.
And that one sat in the middle. So
Yeah,
that's kind of
I
an
can see
interesting
that.
experience that the Taylor was not the brightest of the group, to a lot of people's chagrin. It actually lent more to that lo-fi Gibson tone than this one does. There's a lot of brightness, but you do experience a lot of volume. This was the loudest guitar I've played today. And I think that's because the sound port really just kind of lets you experience it. So
Yeah. Well, cool. Let's hear them.
let's hear them. Check it out. So there you have it. We've switched guitars.
Got to do it sometimes.
Got to do it sometimes, yep. One thing that strikes me is the feel of this one. The neck feels a little wider. The nut width is a little wider, but the neck shape is just different. They're both very fast. Satin finish necks. They both sound really good, and they're light.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I notice almost universally, see if you've picked up on this, almost without exception, some of the best acoustic guitars I've ever played were the lightest ones I ever picked up.
Yeah.
So
there's certain like super boutique-y ones that I've played, like Waterloo guitars that weigh like 3 ounces.
Yeah.
But they just
3 ounces.
They're like 3 ounces.
I have more chicken on my plate than guitar. Yeah.
You got to portion that stuff out, you know, at the factory.
But yeah, it's particularly vintage guitars. You know, up in Nashville, I've been in the upper room at Groon's and picked up some really old, really nice, like old Martins and stuff. They're so
Fly
light,
off the hook, you know.
so resonant. So yeah, that's one thing that I've noticed with these guitars. They're lightly built. I think that's a great emphasis from both manufacturers, and I think you get a lot for your money. So to boil it back down with both of these, for under $1,500 without a pickup, you can have either of these U.S.-made Gibson or Taylor guitars to suit your needs. So I think the deciding factor for most people is if you're in one camp, that's what you're going to get. If you're in the Gibson camp, you're going to buy the G-45. If you're in the Taylor camp, you're going to buy the AD-17. But I would challenge you to maybe try both out in the store, because I think some Taylor fans would be surprised at some of the lo-fi richness of this, and surprised at some of the brilliance and articulation that comes out of that.
Totally, yeah. And
this is $200 more. I mean, for $200 more, you get a narrow case and chamfered edges, and to your point, maybe some slightly nicer aesthetics with the rosette and the staining and stuff. So I also like these tuners. Grover Rotomatics are great. My thumb wants a bigger button.
Yeah, I like those a lot. I mean, these sort of call to the 60s Grover type of
they're
look.
high quality
cool.
tuners.
They're really cool.
I just wish the button was slightly bigger, which is what a normal Grover is.
Those are mini Grovers, right?
Those are minis.
Yeah. They look sharp. They look all right.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's whatever.
And they're lighter, so that might help with the weight. So
yeah.
At the end of the day, we haven't answered any questions for you, really, as far as which one should you get, but this. They're close in price. They're both U.S. made. They're compelling options. Martin has guitars in this mix, and so it's a great time to be a guitar player looking for a budget U.S. made instrument, because there's a lot of options becoming available, but they're all a little unique. Ideally, you should get them in your hands. The challenges of that are real. And so if you are trying to sort through the options, the feel, the sound, even the look of instruments, you should go to our website. What is that?
I think it's alamomusic.com.
They can chat with people on there.
Yeah, you can chat on there, do everything. If you see me on there, ask me any questions. If you see somebody else, say, hey, can I talk to Cooper? Is he around?
If you ask Cooper a question he doesn't know, he'll come ask me, and then I'll ask him back. Like, is that the case it comes with? And then we'll come to a consensus.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll call the rep. We'll get on the horn with corporate. It's all good.
So, but no, seriously, we'll help you sort through it all, even if you're buying remotely or just doing some research to help you find the right instrument. At the end of the day, the very best guitar in the world is a round shoulder dreadnought you can play blues on. But actually, it's just the guitar that you're playing. So that's what we want you to do. Keep playing. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. If you want to have fun in Patreon, we have information in our description for that. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.